evening. Welcome to Elk Grove Exchange. This is a live call-in show where you can call in with questions or comments for our village board this evening. You can do this in one of three ways. You can call us at the station at 847-439-3883. You can fax us here at 847-228-3840, or you can email the station at channel6@parks.elkgrove.org. I'm Lori Urban. I'm your host for this evening, and I'd like to introduce our board. To my left is our mayor, Craig Johnson. Good evening.
How you doing, Lori?
Good, thank you. To his left is trustee Nancy Zarnick. How are you?
Fine, thanks. You, Lori?
Good. To her left is trustee Chris Prochnow.
Hello,
Good
Lori.
evening. And next to Chris is trustee Sam Lissner. How are you doing?
Great, thanks.
It's a small group tonight, but cozy. Some of the topics we're going to talk about this evening are the O'Hare update, the sister city visit to Italy. I can't wait to hear about that one. The residential enhancement update. We'll talk about Make a Difference Day, the tax increase, youth commission, the parade, and Memorial Park update and Veterans Day ceremony if we have time, and maybe the redevelopment agreement. So we'll try to get all this in tonight. Channel 6 has also put together a piece on the O'Hare update, so let's take a look at that now.
As most residents know, Elk Grove Village is strongly opposed to O'Hare expansion.
Our community has always been strong against the O'Hare expansion plan, and in particular the one proposed by Ryan Daly last December, because that's going to have great negative impact on the community. Not only the physical takings of our industrial park, but for our quality of life, congestion impact, pollution impact, and just the overall impact that's nothing but negative when it comes to Elk Grove Village.
One area that would be greatly affected by the proposed plan is Elk Grove's business district.
As everybody knows, Elk Grove borders the western side of the airport with our business park. There's no land in between the airport and our business park. The expansion plan put forth by Ryan and Daly have the airport expanding into our community. Already, Chicago announced attempting to purchase 53 businesses here in Elk Grove Village. And also, they're talking about putting a bypass road in order to get around the airport right through our business park. Both these types of actions are going to have great impact on our tax base and also the financial needs of this community when it comes to serving the schools, the park district, the library, and the village.
Recently, there has been reason to be optimistic as the village has been able to avoid the negative aspects of the O'Hare expansion plan.
The airport issue is an ever-changing thing. We've been very fortunate over the past couple months in some major victories in the court cases. The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of us, and also some circuit courts and local judges have. As a matter of fact, they stopped the city of Chicago from buying our businesses before releasing the full details of their expansion plan, which is one thing we've always supported. We're willing to look at all alternatives to O'Hare modernization or expansion and other airport buildings if we lay all the facts on the table first. Recently, the city of Chicago announced that they're willing to put the bypass road or ring road on existing airport property. That's immensely important to this community because that protects our business park from losing anywhere from 500 to 1,000 businesses and up to 20 to 30,000 jobs lost with a major expressway through the heart of our business district. So it looks like maybe they're starting to work with us, and hopefully they are, because we've always said that we're not against O'Hare. We're just against O'Hare taking Elk Grove Village.
Wow. So what is the latest, Mayor Johnson, with O'Hare?
Well, when we did that piece about 2 weeks ago, it was right after Mayor Daley of City of Chicago announced that he wanted to put the bypass road on existing airport property that already exists today without taking any of our community to do so. He mentioned it was an olive branch out to us, and we responded very favorably to it. We thought that was a great step. We thought it could be, the big piece that breaks open this logjam we've had. Unfortunately, in the past 2.5 weeks, we haven't heard further from the City of Chicago after we have asked and offered to meet with them and talk further. So we don't know if that was just a slip of a tongue, a ploy for just that time or what, but we are still very supportive of working with the City of Chicago, as we always have been, to try to modernize the airport, not at the expense of our community.
Right.
We were hopeful that when they made this offer, they made it in earnest and they would follow through with it. Unfortunately, at least to this point, they have not. So we're hopeful they will. But in the meantime, we will continue to fight. I had a long conversation with Senator Fitzgerald last week, and as we all know, it's not going to come up in the Senate, and it may not come up at all anymore, depending on the outcome of the senatorial elections in November. If the Republicans gain control of the Senate, the senator feels very optimistic that we may never see the federal side of airport expansion being done, which we've always said should not be done. We feel it's illegal. This is a state issue, not a federal issue.
Right.
So that's good news. As I said earlier, we've had a number of court cases. We just argued another case before the state Supreme Court last week on an issue about requiring disclosure before they do anything. So we feel hopeful that, you know, Supreme Court rules with us. You never know. The Supreme Court is a very political thing. It's, you know, we run by party, Democrat or Republican, and you do have to run for that. It's not a lifetime appointment like the federal one. So we're hopeful that they will rule with us as they have in the past. We've never lost the ultimate court decision, including Supreme Court before. And the airlines, it was just announced by American, they're dehubbing Dallas. They announced they're dehubbing O'Hare, they're dehubbing Dallas. And what that really means is the airport structure as we've known it, as far as the airlines monopolizing and doing a certain way of controlling flights and what they call hub and spoke locations, is changing. So as the airlines are going through a changeover, as we know, United's almost bankrupt, American's not far behind, they're out in the federal government asking for bailouts. As that's going forward, it's going to change the perspective on airport expansion for the simple fact that under the Ryan Daly plan, they had counted heavily on the airlines funding a large portion of the expansion through bonding authority that they have. Well, the airlines' bonds aren't worth anything anymore, and the value of their stock is nothing, so therefore they can no longer count on them to fund it. And that's why more important than ever before is we need to know all the details and the facts, because it's one thing to say you're going to put in 6 runways. It's another thing to say how you're going to do it and how you're going to pay for it. And when those details come out, if there's holes in it, then we need to step back and say, you know what, it doesn't work.
Right.
Let's do something different. So we're optimistic. As I've been saying for the past few months, we're in better position we've been in 23 years. We are doing well. We just got to stay the course. We are still willing to work with Chicago. We hope their olive branch is sincere and they want to work with us. And hopefully we can once and for all resolve this issue. The other thing is we are moving forward on the South Suburban Airport down in the Petone area. We've had numerous meetings with Will County, Kankakee County, the South Suburban mayors. They're very supportive of our action. We've always said Elk Grove Village or Bensonville and Park Ridge, we are not there to run airports. We will not run the South Suburban Airport. We are just trying to be the facilitator to bring the parties together to get the South Suburban Airport built for the betterment of not just the south suburbs, but the region. And I've talked many times why it helps all of us. So we're still working very hard on that, and we're optimistic it can be done. And we think if what we've laid out for the modernization of O'Hare and building South Suburban Airport comes to fruition, we will solve the region's problems for many years to come, and everyone's going to win on the situation. And even Chicago will do well, because for them to try to do this airport expansion plan, the condition the airlines are, is going to require so much more cost on the city of Chicago. They're not in a position to do it. We all know that, and we think our solution will be something to be best for all. But as I said before, we'll work with them. We're open to work with them, and now the ball's in their court if they want to take the next step.
Right. Good. Well, the story continues, huh?
Yes.
All right, Trustee Sarnik. I could talk all night about this trip to Italy.
So could we.
And if you don't mind, I would love to.
No,
Flip out some pictures, maybe watch some slides, have some popcorn.
Chris and I are going to do this as a joint venture.
Oh, I would love to hear about
At
it.
one point, Chris had said something when you went to the recycling center, and I feel like I'm saying what I did on my summer vacation.
On my summer vacation,
because
yes.
This
We're
is
giving you a
how-
book report
It
here.
is. This was such an exciting time
Now,
for us.
is this north? We're in Italy. Northern.
We're in Sicily,
Oh, so
just
it's-
in Sicily.
Okay,
on
that's where Termini is. It
Termini Imerese.
Imerese, okay.
I think I'm pronouncing
Yes.
that right? Okay.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. We were really on one of the tips. Sicily has 3 points.
Yes.
And one of the flags that
One of
Chris
the banners
brought,
we were
one of the
presenting.
banners.
Yes,
And
in
this kind
Sicily.
of shows, and the 3 legs.
The 3 legs.
The legs represent the 3 points
Okay.
of Sicily, and it's based on a god, the face of Methuselah. Methuselah?
Yes.
Yes. And it's because we found out that Termini Imerese has a history of both Greek, Arab, and then the Norman conquest. There were many different conquests of Italy, Roman too. Roman.
Started with the Romans.
And it goes on, and so this kind of represents all. So these were the 3 points of
Neat.
Italy, or of Sicily, I should
Yes.
say, and Termini Imerese uses that as their coat of
Neat.
arms. But it was really
I had,
a wonderful, wonderful
imagine.
time. People were gracious, hospitable, warm, we were family by the time we left. It really was a wonderful time. The places they showed us, we can't believe the history. Trustee Petre had said, you know, they have over 2,000 years of history.
Yeah.
And here we are with 46 years.
More than 2,000. We toured one structure in Sicily, in Palermo, was it?
Which
the
was the
Presidential
catacombs?
Palace, where we went down into the basement, and they had actually
Yes.
built the palace
On top.
of Roman structures from 200 BC.
Oh.
And it had a glass floor, and you could
chills
actually
when
see
you
the
were there.
structures, and it gives you goosebumps
Yeah.
to see. We don't have history here
No,
compared to
no.
the
Nothing.
history
But
that they have there.
Culturally, educationally, we learned a lot. Economically, we toured their industrial area, their industrial park. We got to visit with Fiat, an electric power plant, a shirt manufacturing, a food line, which was wonderful foods, lots
can
of
imagine.
pastries. We enjoyed every one of them. There was another one, I can't remember.
We toured the store that had
Oh.
all the little gadgety things.
Yes, and then the recycling center
Oh,
also.
okay.
So I mean, we really, you know, got to see a lot.
Yeah.
And Chris's involvement with the recycling, she really got into that and,
Right.
you know, asked a lot of questions. And
I mean, the cultural things that we were exposed to. And what was very nice was that because we had dealt with this delegation before when they came to us 2 years ago, it wasn't like starting from square one. We already started on a friendship level and took it from there and really felt a strong bond. And they were so protective. They treated us like family. There wasn't a place we went to where we didn't have a police escort, where we had to feel threatened in any way. And every detail. There was one particular day, our second day there, where they wanted to impress upon us that they started as a fishing village. So they took us out on a boat tour out on the Mediterranean, turquoise waters, and hired 2 fishing boats just to demonstrate fishing so that we could see how they got their roots. And we even had the guy in the swimsuit do the swan dive off the fishing boat into the water to show how things were back then. And
they pulled in the nets.
Yes,
I mean, they
and
were
we
pulling
actually
in
ate
nets.
the fish that they caught
Yes,
at a
yes.
dinner that we
They
had
showed
later
us
that
the-
week. But the cultural exchange, the schools got involved. They did a reception for us where the high school band played, and the pom-pom girls did their thing. And this was big time to them. I mean, you really felt important. They treated us like we were the president. I mean, I can't even describe.
One of the towns we were in, as we walked down, people were coming out of their shops. They were waiting for us to say hello. And
Yeah.
I mean, and this is a time, they close their shops from 1 o'clock till 4:30.
Okay, like a little siesta.
Yeah,
sort of.
and I
They
can't
do.
think of,
And
they
that's
do.
because their largest meal of the day is lunch.
Right.
And they take the time to go home and have a 2-hour lunch
Yes.
and relax. I mean, their whole work
This
system.
country
and-
could learn from that. I like that. I like
Then you
that.
come back and you work till 7 or
Right,
8
you don't have
o'clock.
9
so
o'clock
that,
and
And
you
then you're
know,
starting dinner at 9, which
Yeah.
is.
That's true.
But the key
whole
is that
other thing.
these people stayed in their shops, and as we walked down the street, they came out and were waving and, you know, hello and, you know, welcome. And how warm can you feel? It just,
Did you notice a lot of family closeness in there?
Oh,
In-
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
yes.
I mean,
It's
it
just
was the old style. The grandmother, the mother,
They
the
all
children.
live.
Everybody was a family unit. When you went into the churches and you attended the church service, everybody functioned as a family unit. And it was very, I mean, we could learn a lot from that. But on the
Yeah.
counter side, every single person there owned a cell phone. And they were always ringing and they were always talking. We learned that Italy had, per capita, more cell phones than anybody in the world.
Oh, is that strange?
So,
Wow, I never would
mean,
have thought that.
They have this relaxed lifestyle. At the same time, they're always on the phone.
Right,
So-
right.
But I mean, one of the things that I felt really pleased to do was one evening we were given a reception, a cocktail reception by the Rotary Club, the Lioness Club, the Lions Club, the Leo Club, and another organization. The only way I can
Kadapa.
translate would be women involved in government and business. And I sat there, and I am a Lioness and have been for several years, and listened to the presentations they were doing. They presented us with, again, banners and a cocktail reception and speeches that were just incredible. And you sat there and said, yes, I'm a member of the Lioness organization, and I know in my heart that it's a global organization. But now I'm here, thousands and thousands of miles away, listening to the same organization do presentations with us and realize we're all working on a global level
Right.
for the same goals, the
Right.
same, working within our community. It was just, I still get goosebumps. and I had just recently joined the National League of Cities Women in Government, and then to see that they have their own organizations, that
Yeah, that's neat.
these are worldwide issues that we're dealing with. It ties it all together. And then to find out that one of our delegates from 2 years ago has recently opened the first recycling plant in Sicily. So we got to do a tour of the recycling plant, and I thought, yeah, we're going to be so much better. Well, we're not so much better. I mean, even though they have the first one, as I reported, we recycle 90% of everything we take in. They recycle 100% of everything they take in. They've actually developed a process when they come down to what's left and they can't do anything with it. They just keep working with it, and turn it into fuel. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, so we learned so much. So much, and established business ties of businesses that one already existed with Elk Grove Village, and quite a few others that are interested in bringing their business to Elk Grove Village. My husband owns a hardware store. There is no hardware store in Termini. He found a gentleman that's very interested in possibly opening up a hardware store. So on a personal and a business level, it was just very, very successful. I mean, it's something we will continue. We all exchange business cards. We, and again, some of these banners, everything, the formality, the ceremonies, and boy, do they dress in Italy. I mean, if anybody that knows me, picture me 10 days in business suits, formal gowns, high heels, hair down.
The men all wear suits or sport coat. No, mostly suits, really.
Right.
Suits and ties at all time, long sleeve shirts, and believe me, the weather was warmer than it was
Mid-80s,
here.
high humidity.
So, they just roll up their sleeve and they just look
I like
so.
that. It's classy, though.
Yeah,
I like
very.
that.
That's the
When
whole-
in doubt, dress up. You cannot overdress in
We
Italy.
discovered that.
And one particular evening, we went to visit a church, and then we had an opera presentation. Unbelievable. But it's 89 degrees in this church. Of course, it's from 1200s, this church, so there's no air conditioning. And the ladies are all beautifully dressed. No one, I mean, it doesn't matter how. And they all have their beautiful fans going like this. So
And we're taking
and
programs.
I'm dying. And so I reach into my purse and pull out my battery-operated fan and go, and my hair is flowing. And all of a sudden, I see these ladies leaning forward and looking at me. Someone stopped me afterwards and said, you could start a business in Termini.
Yes, there you go.
But it just,
great.
there isn't enough time to even describe
Yeah.
the feeling, the history, the beauty, the mountains that.
Well, I would like a
castles,
slideshow.
the castles, they took us into the catacombs, and I'm thinking similar to Rome, where you kind of go in and you see these walls. No, we saw bodies.
Wow.
It was, these were really,
We got some
Under the
private tours
churches.
that most tourists wouldn't. Even when we were in Palermo, and we were in the presidential
Yes.
palace, we connected up with a certain person, and we had a friend of mine that was a delegate from Italy, and talked with him, and all of a sudden we're in King George's private.
Palatine Chapel.
That's right. His
Palatine
private
Chapel.
chapel that was just built for King George to be
Roger.
in. Roger the,
Second.
and he was a
Norman
He
king.
was a Norman king.
Oh
and
my gosh.
and
neat.
actually the first parliament
Yes. In
Ever.
1140
was in Palermo.
was in Palermo.
So
Beautiful.
And we have pictures of the room, and it was, I mean, it is, it's really something. We got to see a
Now,
lot
will you
of-
be putting pictures up anywhere for residents to see them, or?
Well, that's one of the things. We're going to have a get-together. Everybody's developing their pictures, and I'm sure there's a lot of duplicates, but I'm sure somebody else caught something that we might have liked or missed or something. And we're going to have a get-together and kind of exchange. And I've talked to Channel 6, and they're going to do a piece with
good.
some of our pictures. We have a couple of videos they need to be edited, but traffic. Stop signs
Good or
are
bad?
a suggestion.
Oh.
That's all they are. They're
That's it.
suggestion. But
sidewalks could be for cars or for people, depending on what streets you're on.
who's there first?
It was
But
just,
it was a wonderful experience.
scooters are the way to go because
Yeah.
all the streets are this wide and everyone's walking
right.
on them too.
Right.
Still the old cobblestone. It
Oh,
just,
pretty.
yeah, and they're all walking in their high heels on these cobblestone.
Brick pavers.
Yeah.
Brick pavers.
Brick pavers.
So we kept saying brick pavers.
Brick pavers are
A little
even.
older than us.
Cobblestones are not.
I know, you're right.
Cobblestones are not even.
But it was a wonderful time.
Oh, I can
wonderful
only imagine.
experience
That's
for
great.
everyone that was participated. So,
Trusty listener, you look
one
like you
quick-
want to say
yeah,
something?
I do.
yes, I'm sorry. Go
One
ahead.
quick thing before you move ahead. As long as Nancy and Chris have gotten everyone all excited about Termini and the Sister City program, you probably know that Mayor Johnson, Trustee Dill, and myself, we did not go. We sort of split it up so we didn't put all our
Yes.
eggs in one basket. But anyway, next year, April 4th and 5th, Elk Grove Village will be hosting the State Sister City Convention. So we expect some of the things that Nancy, Chris, and Jim, and Pat, and others found out about, we'll be presenting at that. In fact, maybe some of these pictures we'll put up
Actually-
on the website.
And some of the
website.
Some of the
that
people are
we,
coming.
the president of Palermo,
Palermo is planning on being there.
Mayor Purpey will be coming, and Deputy Chief Luigi, I have no idea what his last name is, but on the side, he's a mime. So you can understand that we were very entertained the whole time we were there, and I invited him back to be entertainment at the convention, so.
Video to show. But anyway, the fee hasn't been established yet, but we expect it to be around $55, and that'll
Okay.
include a couple of meals,
Nice.
entertainment,
Nice.
top-notch speakers, and it's a Friday afternoon to midday Saturday type
Nice.
convention.
First weekend in April.
And there's probably going to be some sort of gala fundraiser Saturday night. So it's all tying together nicely. And we do have a website, and maybe you'll be able to show it later since I emailed it over to Channel 6.
You
We'll see-
did.
we'll see if it works. But anyway, that's all I have. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm glad it was a fun trip. That's nice. Let's take a video question, or a person on the street question, I'm sorry. And this is Sue Storey. And Sue, what is your question or comment for our village board?
Okay. Hi, my name is Sue Storey, and I have a question about the brick pavers. I read in the paper that it was voted on and whether or not to have the paver sealed, and it was turned down. And I was just wondering, first of all, what it would accomplish by sealing the brick pavers, and secondly, why it was turned down. Because I know that a lot of residents are concerned about the snowplows and having the bricks come up. And so I thought maybe if they were sealed, then a lot of people wouldn't worry about that this winter. Thank you.
You want to start?
Welcome. Okay.
The ceiling would not affect
No.
the pavers themselves as far as stability goes. Ceiling, which two of us sitting up here thought we should test it to see if it works. It more or less would give it a brighter look,
Okay.
almost like a wet look. It's not a glaze, but almost like a glaze look compared to a
Sure.
flat look. And thought that it might be a good way to even accent the appearance of the brick pavers than they are now. But the board discussed it not once but twice, actually voted on it twice. And some of us want to do a test intersection just to see how it holds up, because the ceiling company said that under the wear and tear of the weather of salt and the traffic and all that, you may have to do it as much as twice a year. And it would require closing down entire intersections, cleaning them, sealing them, and could become costly and all that. But we will never know, because at this time at least, the
We're
board
not-
decided not to,
not
but
to
there's
see.
always the future. The board may change its view. But as far as the snow plows in the winter, that's the number one question flying around the village. First of all, our plow blades are 2 inches above the ground. That's why we never plow snow unless there's 2 inches of snow or more. So they don't go right on the street, because they'd be tearing up all of our streets. It wouldn't just
Okay.
be that. The second thing is we're not reinventing the wheel here. Brick pavers are used throughout the country, especially up north. I told the board I was at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, which is north of here by Madison, and that's all they got is brick pavers for crosswalks for the students to use, and it's amazing how they follow them and they use them. But what we did was we put in a concrete base, we put in a concrete edging around it. The exact same thing we did in the town center. And we've had the town center now for almost 6 years. Not one brick has come up. We haven't had to replace one brick from all the plowing and the traffic and all that goes on. So with this concrete base we put in our foundation, it will hold them in place. But we did even one step further, just to make ultimately sure that we will not be damaging anything. If people notice the bricks, there's a type of bricks on the interior. Then we edge the bricks with what we call the tumbled cobblestone
Yes,
look.
I did see that.
And that's already a little rough looking. It's the appearance that it gives. So if for some reason some plow blade did chip something going over the start of the bricks, they already look like that. You would never notice it, never would see it. So we feel very confident that they're not going to be damaged. We feel very confident they're not going to do it. And we based it on what we've had in the town center. We based it on what all the other cities did. We did a lot of work on studying this before we went ahead and did this. So they'll be around for a long time. We're not concerned about it. We can redo the streets when we surface them, just like we stopped at the edge of the curves, we stop at the edge of the bricks. So they're well studied, well prepared, and they're going to hold up a long time, and they also look awfully nice.
Yeah, and the reason
Wonderful.
I was the one who brought up the issue only because a few residents had said to me, they look so dull, they look so this. And I had done a little research because my husband is in the business, and I said, oh, there's a sealer available that you could do it. Brightens it up, makes it look a little sharper. And that's why I had raised the issue. It also helps to extend the life of the brick. But once again, when I'm talking about the sealer there, we're thinking about your driveway, your back patio. The concern was, is this going to have to be, are they going to get dull if they get, you know, with the traffic? There was concern that it might cause a slippery situation, which turned out not to be the case. I would have liked to have seen a test intersection just to see how they would wear and tear, but you never know.
The mayor doesn't always get his way, I
And
guess.
we felt,
It
and
happens
then
sometimes.
the other two that happened to be here tonight felt
The other two?
that along with the, you know, the majority of the board
And a
felt
lot of
that
expert advice.
a lot of expert advice that it was, you know, more for residential than it was for commercial, which, you know, the wear and tear that we have.
Sure.
And it didn't, to me, you know, I felt the money that would be expended wasn't necessary, especially when you know you had to do it at least once a year, maybe twice a year. We don't need to close streets down more, and especially after some of the comments from
Oh, yes.
what we have with the brick pavers. Everybody's being very patient, and we keep asking for that because there's still, you know, work to be done along those lines, but we just felt that this was not necessary to do, to spend that money and to do something that really was not meant for the type of wear and tear that we have on our main streets.
And we do have a large supply of replacement bricks. Would it be necessary to do that? But, and the way that it's set up, it's so simple that you would just literally lift out
up.
one brick and
Okay.
put one in, so that maintenance should not be a problem.
But not simple enough that anybody who needs a brick, they can go out and take one.
Exactly, exactly. Well, Sue, I hope that answered your question if you're watching tonight. Okay, well, I guess our next topic pretty much ties right in. Mayor Johnson, if you want to give us an update on the residential enhancement. I see the posts going up all over. I like it. I think it looks so cozy.
You know, I get nervous.
Old world charm.
Anything we've ever done, I always tell people the story, we could invite Christ to come down to bless the village and they have 500 atheists protesting. But the first thing we've ever seen has been universally accepted. We've had not one negative comment, is new streetlights. Everyone loves new streetlights. So now we're nervous. There must be something wrong. We're worried about it. But we're moving along very quickly. As this airs the second week of October, we're going to have the main brick paver installation on the main streets. They started today on Biesterfield and Arlington Heights Road. We got several intersections all the way along Biesterfield to be done over the next couple weeks. So we're almost done. I think we only have about 7 intersections left. So that portion of the project's almost complete. The street lights, next week they start west of 53. We started in the old section of the village. And we've been just slowly working that direction all the way through. They will be completed on or before the middle of December. Some are not activated yet. We're still trying to work with ComEd. Others, we've got our own lighting company trying to activate them instead of waiting for ComEd, so that's moving along. Street name signs are starting to pop up.
Yeah, those look great.
People like those. They're bigger, easier to see, plus the brackets look nice. Stop signs are
Stop
going in now.
signs, I did see those.
But it's not just stop signs. Speed limit signs, yield signs, no parking signs. Every single sign in the village will be changed
those
over
up
with
yet?
that style. That'll be coming.
okay.
Not up yet, but they're coming.
Okay.
We got 3 semis being delivered end of this week, early next week with the rest of the signs. We also have landscaping started. If people notice there's been sod cut out at some of the main intersections and the parkways. That's because we've got a $1 million plus enhancement for landscaping coming. Around the schools, I noticed today at Salt Creek, they've taken out some sod by Mead School. So there's a large landscape on the public sector side that's coming up very shortly. The clock tower is almost near completion. The Veterans Memorial Park, which we're going to talk a little more about the celebration there on Veterans Day, that's getting near completion. So all the pieces of the puzzle are now starting to come together. We're excited. It's been a long year. I know it's been very frustrating for people. We've appreciated the patience people have in the community. You know, it's like anything. If you paint your house, you got to go through inconvenience, moving your furniture and all that, or anything like that. But we're getting near the end, and the feeling we're getting from a lot of people is a lot of positive. It's funny. I know a lot of people had concerns about the clock tower. You know, a lot of people, you know, really didn't want it, or maybe didn't think we needed it. And now everyone's saying, gee, it's so beautiful. Couldn't we have put it somewhere more visible at the corners? So, you know, I think as people start to see that.
Put it more someplace more visible.
We tried, but we still feel the most visible part is the center of the town. That's where we got it. So, but, you know, in other words, I think as people start to see everything come to reality, they're really getting excited. They enjoy it. I think by next spring, when all the landscaping really comes back up over the
Yeah.
winter and everything's in and up and going, I think people are going to be awfully proud. And once again, it's a reinvestment into the community. As all of us have put on new roofs on our house, or siding, or landscaping in our yards, we're now doing that on the public sector side to make sure we keep the tax base strong and vibrant for the future. And the big news that we're so proud of, it came in 20% under budget. So
Excellent.
it's $2 million under budget on the $10 million project, the biggest project the village has ever done. And unlike some other cities to the east of us, we not only come in on time, but we come in well under budget. So we're excited about that. It's happening. And I guess the only final thing people will notice is along Biesterfield, we're painting the light poles into a black color and the street lights to kind of blend in with the signs and lights we put in, which are all black. So that's probably the final pieces coming together. And the banners that the ladies want to talk about.
We ordered our banners. We'll have new banners for this fall once they're
Going down
Beisterfield.
Okay.
And I think you'll be very pleased with the fall banners.
Banners for the whole year we've ordered.
Oh,
actually,
absolutely.
yes.
But the
Seasonal?
banner ones that, yes,
Seasonal?
we have 5 sets of banners.
Nice.
And the first one will start out, of course, will be this fall, will be the new ones. And I think you'll be very pleased with them. They're going to kind of represent a little bit of some of the residential enhancements that we've done. It's got the light pole, the new, not light
posts.
lamp posts, a new lamp post and a bench, kind of with the black edging. So I think it's going to look really kind of nice. And then we'll have a Christmas one, or a holiday one, I'm sorry. Holiday one.
Christmas holiday.
And then we will follow with a character counts, reaffirmation for the character counts program. Then we'll have the spring,
Right.
yes, spring, and then the summer one will be a patriotic type banner. So we have 5 coming up.
Memorial Day through Labor Day
Yeah.
to cover Memorial Day,
For all the
Flag Day,
holidays.
4th of July, and Labor Day.
Oh, beautiful.
And
So
to tie into residential
beautiful.
enhancement is we're spending an awful lot more to enhance the industrial park, and Sam might be able to give us a quick update on where we're at in the industrial revitalization.
Well, they're actually it's moving along very well, especially. I don't know if we could say we're under budget, but we've gotten so much grant money that we weren't expecting, $7-8 million worth. So we're doing a lot more than we even expected we were going to do. In fact, our next meeting's not until February 6th of 2003. So things are just moving along. Vito San Marco and Ellen Boffes are just doing a great job with their own staffs and the consultants, and things are just moving along. If you've been over there, you'll see a lot of new lighting there going up, some brick pavers, well, not really brick pavers in the street, but on some of the sidewalks, plantings along Tani and some other areas. So
Mini perks.
again, as Mayor Johnson said, it's another investment back into the community, and this is just something that we hope that really goes on forever. I was going to add on the neighborhood or residential enhancement. I got our newsletter today, which has a lot about that and other things which people want to be reading about. But there's an opportunity for people to buy the old street signs that'll be coming down for nostalgia reasons if they want their. And some of them have probably been up since they moved into the village. So,
Would that include the business section too? Because I know you're replacing those signs.
No, just.
Okay.
also, it's got hit
That'll
by
be
trucks.
December 14th. We're going to be selling them on December 14th.
Where? How?
Village Hall,
Oh,
$5.
Village Hall. Okay.
First come, first serve.
And maybe the old banners also, you said.
The
Well, they
banners
won't
won't be
be-
until
Oh, they
next
won't be
year.
in?
It
That's
wouldn't be
right.
at that
Okay.
time.
So we'll have a different
So
sale
we're
for
going to
then.
see if they want to
You
do
have to
that.
wait for those.
But again, the banners are a wonderful investment. The banners that we have now, we're scheduled to only
5
have
years.
5 years, and they've gone
8.
So it's time, it's a
Yeah.
good investment, and it's something, that catches your eye and
Sure. I always
enhances
look up at
our
those when I'm driving down Beisterfield. You just
Yeah.
see them. That's great. Good. It's coming along nicely. Okay. Trustee Prochnow, how about Make a Difference Day?
Well, this is something Nancy and I need to talk about together. I mean, the reason I had mentioned Make a Difference Day was because as Commissioner of the Youth Commission, we were working on a project, but I think overall, Nancy probably has more information, so you might want to start, and I'll just finish up with what the Youth Commission is doing.
Make a Difference Day is October 26th, Saturday, and it's a national day that everybody is trying to do something to make a difference in their community. And Elk Grove is participating with what we have 2 drives. A paper chase is the title of our first drive, and what we're going to be doing is collecting items, paper items for the food pantry, for wings for the seniors, and what we're doing is taking different areas and seeing what they might need. We're collecting those we have baskets and boxes at the Jewel and the Dominic's in Elk Grove, or you can drop them off at the community center. And on that day, if you want to do it all in one day, the 26th, we are going to have volunteers outside our community center in Village Hall to take any drop-offs that you would like to have, or you can bring them in. And then we're going to disperse them to different areas that might need different paper things, because we know those are the things that you can have a long shelf life.
Sure.
And especially some of the items that, they can be bulky. And so we felt if we could do this and pass that along to different organizations that might need it. We're thinking like diapers for the daycare center and for Elk Grove Township, because they also use a type of a needy family type of thing. We're looking to add those to some of our Christmas and, or I should say our holiday baskets, depending on how much we accomplish at that. And our second part of our drive is the cell phone drive. And what we're asking for is anybody who has a cell phone that wants to get rid of them, drop it off at community center.
Should have hit up the sister city.
I don't think they want to get rid of them.
Get rid of theirs yet. But anyway, and what they do is reprogram the cell phones to dial 911 for emergencies, and we're going to be hoping to distribute these to, again, domestic violence people who might need that in certain situations, and possibly even seniors, because sometimes just on an emergency, if they have it with them at all times, that might work too. So those are the two areas that we're looking at. But along with that, Grove Apartments is having a food drive, because our food pantry is really in need, and this is a good time. So Grove Apartments is having a food drive, Interfaith Council is having a food drive, Alex & Brothers is doing a cell phone collection, so they're working through there, and Friends of the Critters of Salt Creek are doing their creek cleanup that day. Creek.
Going down to the creek?
Yeah, well, from the country. But anyway, they're doing that cleanup that day. So those are some of the areas that I know that are participating and doing something on that day, and I'm sure there are a lot of others. And if anybody has any interest, call our community service office, and we'll probably be able to point you in some type of a direction that you might be able to use, or we can use your help. And Chris has got
the Youth Commission. The Youth Commission, since we've been in existence, has always sponsored some sort of activity on Make a Difference Day. In the past, we've done car washes to raise funds for teen suicide prevention and some other organizations. This year, with the Youth Commission, we've kind of refocused ourselves to be dealing with mostly junior high age children. The high schoolers seem to have their own little niche going, so we're refocusing in that area. And with that in mind, we wanted to do something that would appeal to the youth and raise funds or something within the community. And what we decided to do was do a moonwalk for the food pantry. In conjunction, we've formed such a wonderful partnership with the Park District in the past 2 years. A lot of the activities that we've been doing, because we have membership, 2 Park Board Commissioners sit on the Youth Commission. We've had a great interaction together. We've sponsored activities together. And the Park District on October 26th is hosting a Halloween Fest Haunted Happenings for children age 2 to 10. And in conjunction with that, we've decided to do our moonwalk for the food pantry. I happen to have won the opportunity to rent a moonwalk for a day. So I'm donating that. We're going to get a moonwalk. We're going to put it at the pavilion, and from Rent Right. And I was very pleased that when I contacted Rent Right about using the moonwalk for the day, I talked with the manager there and asked her to talk to the owner, Paul, I think his name is Ames Camp, and ask him if he would possibly like to donate the labor for that day, because it costs another $125 to supply labor to man this facility. And we were planning on charging either $1 or a food donation for the children to have the opportunity to play in the moonwalk. And I was very pleased yesterday to receive a phone call saying that absolutely Rent Right would love to partner up with the Youth Commission and is donating all the labor for free. So not a penny is going toward the expense. So anything we take in that day will be given to the food pantry, whether it be money, whether it be food. We will be there from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the main gym. and my youth commissioners and my members will be there to help organize and collect funds. But I think it's going to be a wonderful activity. I think the Park District activity is a wonderful activity. So as long as you're coming on over, come on over to the Moonwalk, donate some money, donate some food, help out the community, because there's a lot of children in our community who are also in need. It's been a very tough year.
Our community service area is saying the same thing. We're getting a lot more requests with the economy the way it is. So this is a very difficult year for a lot of families, and we really are trying to do something to make it a little bit easier.
And it's wonderful to see the partnership even with Rent Right, to see that they're a member of the Oak Grove Chamber of Commerce, to see companies teaming up with organizations, teaming up with the community, teaming up with the Park District. I mean, that's why we are such an exceptional community. You just see it. There was never a second thought. Of course we'll donate this. So my thanks to Rent Right.
And this is October 26th.
Saturday, October 26th.
Everybody go out there. All right. Good.
Really, I mean, there's so many projects. The Boy Scouts are doing projects. The Girl Scouts. I mean, if you want to get involved, call Community Services. We'll find something for you to do.
Good, good. Well, let's take another person on the street question, and this is from Dick Gans. And what is your question or comment for the Village Board?
Okay, I'm ready now. I just want to congratulate Craig Johnson on the job he's doing as mayor, especially with the lighting and street signs. I've lived in Elk Grove now for 32 years, and I finally realized the name of some of the streets within 3 blocks of me. Now that we have signs that aren't 100 feet up in the air. And the crosswalks really give a nice ambiance to the area. And the clock tower, I don't know yet. I haven't seen the clock in it, but keep up the good work, Greg. I think the community's really proud of you. Thank you.
Kudos.
That's it.
Good.
What can you say?
What can you say? It's been said.
You need to hear that because you get a lot of the other stuff
Yes,
too.
yes.
Sure. You know.
We don't get a lot of grief.
No, you get a little. Okay.
It's funny, I keep track. People don't realize we get a lot of letters at the Village Hall, and we get a lot of phone calls, all this, and we keep track, and we monitor what people are saying, we monitor the views and stuff like this, but I'd have to say when it comes to the work on the residential enhancement and the airport and some other things, we usually run anywhere from 5 to 10 to 1 in favor of what we've been doing, and that's what we listen to. And we respect people's differences of opinions, and they may have it, but we do what we think is best for the community. We do what we think in the long run is best, and sometimes we get more information, obviously, than most people can receive. For example, the young lady's question about sealing pavers and will that affect heaving. Well, we see what goes in there and what we do and stuff like that. So, but it is nice to hear that, and we appreciate it. And we always talk about it's the silent majority out there that really are the ones you listen to. And I kind of jokingly tell the board a lot of times. I said, like I said before, we're always going to have some negative. Even if, like I say, we have a Christ come, we're going to have some negatives. But I said, when you get 3,000 or 4,000 people, then you better start listening to what they're saying, because there's a lot of people in this community. But we do thank Mr. Gans for his compliment.
Yeah,
and
that's very nice.
We heard that from a lot of people. It's nice to be able to read the signs finally instead of squinting up there and trying to figure out what street they're on.
Exactly. Good. Well, I want to remind people at home, too, that today is October 9th and we are live. So if you have any questions for our Village Board, call in. Okay, let's see. How about discussing the tax increase? Mayor Johnson, I'll give that to you.
Well, we talk about good things, we talk about bad things. We don't
Yes.
shy away from it. As with everyone, the economy obviously has been going south a little longer and deeper than anyone ever imagined. We were very fortunate in this community over the past previous 5 years, we did not increase existing taxes, we did not create any new taxes, and we did not raise property taxes. We were the first administration in the history of the village to be able to do that. And our feeling was, during the good economy, there's no reason to be going out and asking for more money. A matter of fact, the residential enhancement we've talked about so proudly, we were able to completely fund that with excess revenues we had coming in during this time, and put away for that project we knew we were working on. So we were able to do the largest project in the history of the village, $10 million, without raising taxes or creating any new taxes. We did one step beyond that. We also put away extra money for the rainy day fund. And we did that knowing that the good economy does not last forever. And sure enough, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, the economy started going bad. And it started having an impact on this community as did many other communities. We have been fortunate because of our strong tax base and because we've put away extra money that we've been able to hold off a lot longer than many other communities at looking for new sources of revenue. And I know a lot of people say, well, gee, why don't you stop the residential enhancement? You know, why don't you stop the industrial revitalization, all this? You really can't do that, because basically what happened is you have two sets of funds. You have funds that are what's called capital projects fund. They are one-time expense funds, not an ongoing expense fund. And then you have funds that come in on a continuous basis that you fund to pay for ongoing police costs, fire costs, public works, and so on. So you want to keep those separate. The residential enhancement fund was a one-time expense fund, the industrial revitalization one-time expense fund. So you don't want to mix those together, because what happens is once you use them once, there's nothing coming in to replace it. You're going to have to find some source there. Quick example how that affect, back in President Clinton's days, he offered 3-year funding to any town that hired new policemen. Well, the problem is, after the 3-year funding's up, what do you do then? You either keep the policemen or you let them go. If you keep them, you got to find new funds to pay for them.
Right.
If you let them go, you're taking away something that you got used to. So we were fortunate. We are building up a stronger base. One of the reasons we've held off having to look at tax revenue sources until now was because we had a strong base from previous administrations investing back in the community. So then we had to look at what to do. We knew we had a shortfall growing. We knew it was going to be coming, not this year, but next year and potentially beyond. And we said, what do we look at? Well, we told staff, look at everything. We said, look at every potential way to increase revenue, but also look at ways to reduce expenditures. First thing we did was, we did not fill 2 positions last budget period and actually eliminate those positions. They were vacant, we didn't fill them, we eliminated them. At this time, we have 12 positions that are frozen. We have not hired replacements for 12 positions. However, we want to stress, we have not sacrificed any services to this community. The people will not notice less police force, less fire department, less public works or administration staff. We've been able to work around it to fulfill a need, and now the staff's job is to find out if we need to fill those in the future or not. That's something they're going to be working on. So we've tightened the belt where we could. We've held off on some things and projects that we did not do. For example, we need a new police station or a drastic work on our existing police station. We've held off on that at this time. So we have looked at that, but we still realize that we have a shortfall coming. 75 cents of every dollar we spend is on personnel. We are a service government. We do not create widgets to sell. We don't have something that brings in revenue to us by selling to the public. And we provide services. So that's expensive, and that goes up every year. People get paid more, medical costs go up. There's nothing we can do about that. So when we looked at everything, we looked at increasing vehicle stickers, we looked at increasing permit fees, we looked at property taxes, we looked at every fee we had out there. And what we finally decided to focus on was sales tax. Elk Grove Village is one of the biggest sales producers in the state of Illinois. People don't realize that. Our industrial park has an awful lot of money from sales tax. In our 2 years ago, in our top year, we brought in over $14 million of sales tax. That has gone down almost $3.5 million last year. That's a huge drop. What we decided was, why should the burden of the tax increase needed be solely placed on the residents of the village community? Because there are 100,000 people that come into our community every day to work that have the livelihood based on this community. They use our roads, they use our street lights, they use our stop signs, they use our paramedics, they use our fire department, our police department. We felt this cost should be borne by everyone that benefits from Elk Grove Village. And when we looked at the sales tax, we realized that 75% of the sales tax money that comes into us is from outside of this community. It's from people that do not reside in Elk Grove or own a business in Elk Grove. It's from people outside this community using our benefits. So we thought that was a fair way to approach it. So what we did was, if you look at our history, in 1981, we introduced our first 1% sales tax. In 1991, we went up another 0.5%. And 11 years later, again, it's almost like a clockwork, we decided to increase it 0.25%. What does that mean? It means on someone that buys $10 of something in Elk Grove, they pay 2.5 extra cents. But it means a generation of over $1.5 million of revenue. In order to raise property tax on the village side that much, we'd have to raise our share of the property tax 36%. that we felt was unfair burden on the residents and the businesses. So we thought the sales tax was the best way to do it. It's not a tax on food you buy at Dominic's or any kind of medical.
Right.
It's on all other goods and services. And so we thought 2.5 cents on $10 or 25 cents on 100 was not too much of a burden on our residents. And we thought it was great that other people that benefit from our community will also pay part of this cost. So that is why we passed the sales tax. It'll go into effect January 1st.
Okay.
And no one enjoyed it, as I said, but I think if people look at our history of this administration, we have proven that we are not a government entity that likes to tax. There is not a government entity we could find anywhere around here that's gone 5 years without any tax increase or new taxes, yet we did. So in the good times, we will take care of the consumers and our constituents, and in times when we need to, at a last resort, we will go out. And that's the thing we need to stress one last time is we look at taxes as the last resort.
Right.
Unfortunately, too many government entities look at it as the first resort.
Sure.
We went through reserves, we went through jobs, we went through scaling back projects. When that was not enough, we made the tough decision to go forward with the sales tax.
Okay. Well, that explains it well. Thank you. Okay. Let us take another person on the street question, and this is from Bruce Penn. And Bruce, what's your question or comment for the board?
I would just like, in fact, I'm just wondering, why were you spending money on a clock tower? What is the use of it? Are we trying to keep up with the other suburbs? I don't understand. I don't know who's going to use it or why, or the parks. Help people that maybe are hurting for money, help them out. Don't blow it on clock towers or crosswalks. Spend it on something useful. Think about it next time. Save the money. Keep it in the bank if you don't have a good choice.
Well, I think you.
Well, we think we had a good choice. As you see from Mr. Gaines' call before, people
Right.
have different opinions
Oh,
on
sure.
this, and we believe it's a good investment in the community, and we'll go forward. And I think if we're trying to keep up somewhere, we're actually trying to keep up with Italy. When you're in Italy, you saw the clock towers, all these different towns. So we're just trying to keep up with our sister cities.
Yeah,
The only
that's it.
reason we put the clock tower in. So
That's it.
And our clock will work, unlike some of those in Italy. We understand, but ours will work. So.
Historical nature.
That's right.
And it plays music. How many songs does it play?
It's unlimited. It will be. It's got Westminster chimes,
Nice.
and it will play music at different times. You can program holiday music or veterans music on Veterans Day and so on like this. Nancy loves the clock tower. She just wanted it somewhere else.
Trustee Zarnik, where did you want this clock tower?
Not there.
Not there. Okay.
Not there.
Okay.
But
We did look.
Yes.
We did look at all over the village, and ultimately what decided this decision made was where the clock tower went was the geographic center, almost to the dot of the residential community.
Okay.
And it tied in with the town center, the greenway, the pavilion, and the governmental campus that we
Okay.
have here. So
Okay.
that was it. But we did look. We looked at the west side. We looked at the old section of the village, the north side of the village, and we looked everywhere. And the points all came back from our consultants, everybody else that talked about it, put it in the center of town where, the village really congregates for different functions, and it worked out well there. And
Good.
it'll be interesting when it's all complete.
It's fun. I go to the library all the time, and my daughter's 3 years old, and she'll always say, "Look, the clock tower's getting bigger and bigger," and you just see it gradually getting bigger. It's neat to see it going up. I think we have some information on the Sister City website.
did it come
There it
through?
is. Okay.
Sam,
Oh,
you're awesome.
Sam, it worked.
Wow, that's impressive, trustee listener.
Oh, Tennessee.
It looks like it's
on the screen. See, it's right there.
www.elkgrove.org/sistercity.
Boy, does she have eyes.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
None of us can read that.
She doesn't need the signs, we
No,
do.
we don't need the big signs.
Okay, let's see. We're winding down here. How about, I must mention, this is a very dark day for me today. This is October 9th, the last day for Farmers Market. Trustee Zarnik, I am in a bit of a depression, but I'll get over it.
It was, but I'll tell you, it was very successful.
It was
There were
great,
a lot
yeah.
of people there, and I kind of did the same thing. I ran over and did a lot of stocking up, and wait till Frank sees my trunk. He hasn't emptied it yet. Shh, don't say anything. If he's watching this, he'll know.
Me too. I got a bushels full of apples because
I did too. I
you
got
can't
the
even
apples.
get them around our
I bought
Quigs
the
and-
salsa.
Yeah,
I bought the spreads to make pumpkin pies.
a few more
I
soups.
bought a lot of stuff.
I know we're winding down. You
Yes.
probably want to cover that last item
Yes.
because we won't have a chance.
The redevelopment agreement?
The
No.
Memorial
Oh,
Park.
Memorial
Memorial
Park,
Day.
okay. Memorial Park update and Veterans Day ceremony. Mayor Johnson.
That'll be November 11th, Veterans Day. We're working with the VFW and the American Legion. It will be at 10:30 a.m. and we'll dedicate the new Veterans Memorial Park at the corner of Wellington and Beaster Field. We'll have some very nice surprises as far as part of the ceremony that we will not discuss because we want them to be a surprise. We're welcoming anyone that wants to be part of it to be there. Afterwards, there'll be a luncheon at the Village Hall. For years, the VFW has graciously invited all the elected officials to be part of the service over at the VFW Hall on Devon. So this year, we want to now pay back their gracious hospitality and honor them and do it. We're going to thank, obviously, Senator Pate Phillip and Senator Dave Sullivan, who together put in over $250,000 in this park over there. We will have the water feature working there that day, and the memorials for each service branch will be dedicated that day and unveiled, and we're really looking forward to it. And as I said, and I want to stress again, this is not to take away from the beautiful field of blue that's over here. This is just another way to enhance our dedication and our appreciation of those that serve this country. So November 11th, it's 4 weeks from this coming Monday, and 10:30 a.m. Over there, we'll have plenty of parking at the Village Hall, the Pavilion, and around the area we'll have police officers there to help get everybody over there. And we really want to see a very special day, and it'll be an emotional day, and we're looking forward to it. And yes, it will be done on time. Otherwise, we'll be raising the contractor up on the flagpole. So it will be complete as well as the clock tower and all the other work in the area, and we're looking forward to it.
Good. Can't wait to see that too. All right, and
just to remind you, the parade, I know it's plenty of time
we've
ahead,
got a couple
but
minutes left
June
here.
14th, 2003, Tropical Paradise is the
Paradise
theme this year. And then redevelopment agreement if you...
Yeah, if we have a few minutes.
We're moving forward on the Rowling Grove. Last night we passed the redevelopment agreement. That will be over at the Rowling Road and Devon Avenue, the old Antique Mart. We'll have a 73-room hotel suite, Country Inn. We'll have a 1,000-person banquet facility, 3, maybe 4 or 5 restaurants, including a family-style breakfast lunch place with nice specialties and discounts. So it's moving forward very quickly, and there'll be a chop house there and some other shopping area there and some dental building and medical building offices in there. So it's finally coming to fruition. We've worked hard on this for a long time. This goes all the way back to Chuck Zedek when he was president of the village, working hard on this, and we're finally there.
Do we have any idea when we can expect it to?
It takes about 1.5 years. They're going to close in December. We're hoping by summer of 2004 to be up and going. And we still are working on some other locations in this village to fill up some vacant stores, and hopefully next time around with some exciting news for everybody.
Good, good, good. All right. Well, I'm glad we covered a lot of topics tonight. Thank you all so much for coming out again. Small group, but it was good. You all had a lot to say. And I'm Lori Urban, and thank you again for watching.